Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ruth Snyder from Bonnieville from RLS Creativity. And today I just want to ask you, are you ready? If you're listening live, put hashtag live and tell me where you're listening in from. And if you're listening to the replay, put hashtag replay and again, tell us where you're listening in from. I want to share with you some things that God is teaching me and then talk about what God may have in mind for you as well. So, the last couple of years have been quite challenging for me. God has been revealing a lot of things to me, but I think the biggest lesson that He's been teaching me is that I have been trying to fill my emptiness with food and relationships instead of seeking God and all that He is. In John 10:10, Jesus said, I have come to give you life and to give you abundant life. And often we miss out on that abundant life because we are trying to fill our emptiness with everything except God. And so I have had to do some repenting and learning and growing, but it has been wonderful. I am very grateful for what God has done and continues to do in my life. A couple months ago, I listened to a challenge, and I, the person that was hosting the challenge, Mark, said, are you ready to help 10,000 people? That sounds like an awfully big number to me. I don't know about you, but 10,000 people. And God said, Ruth, I want you in your lifetime to help at least 10,000 people write, publish, and profit from their books. And whether he is going to have me work one on one with people or in groups or just provide information for them, whatever he wants for me, I want to be faithful in obeying him. And so I'm going to step forward in faith. I have been stepping forward in faith. I know that I cannot possibly do this on my own. One of my friends shared a video with me this morning by Beth Furtick called I don't think I'm ready for this. And if you're interested, I will put the link in the comments so that you can watch the whole video. But she talks about helping her teenage children learn to drive and talking about how she doesn't feel ready for that. But then she also goes into teaching about Joshua. And did you know that when God called Joshua, he was hiding in a wine press? He wasn't making wine, he was beating out grain. But God, the angel that talked to God, called him a strong and courageous man. And Beth talked about the fact that when God calls us, he doesn't see us as we are currently. He sees our potential, and that's what he calls us to. So, what is God calling you to? He's calling me to help 10,000 people write and publish their books. What is he calling you to? Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. God is always with us. And the amazing thing is, we can do nothing in and of ourselves. And God knows that, but He still calls us. I was watching another video this week, a DVD by Ray Vanderlaan, and it's called In the Dust of the Rabbi. And he talked about in Israel, the typical way of people becoming disciples of rabbis is that they will actually seek the rabbi out. And in order to be accepted as a disciple, they have to prove their worth. Not only do they have to be a student in a synagogue, not only do they have to have memorized most of the Old Testament, not only do they have to be willing to live in community, which means forsaking their family and friends, but they need to be willing to live with the rabbi and follow him 24 hours a day. Are we that committed to following God? Are we that committed to doing what he wants us to? Are we that committed to just following him every step of every day? That's a big commitment. But God has so much for us if we're willing to make that commitment. A few months ago, I realized that I seemed to be attracting the wrong kind of people to work with me. And it's not like I'm not saying that people are any better or any worse. I'm just saying that I'm realizing that I have certain gifts and certain skills, and there are people that fill me up, and there are people that kind of drag all the energy out of me. And so, in the last few weeks, I've been reading this book called Book Yourself Solid. It's by Michael Port. And one of the first chapters is called, let me find it here, The Red Velvet Rope Policy. And I'll just read a little bit about what he says. Imagine that a friend has invited you to accompany her to an invitation-only special event. You arrive and approach the door, surprised to find a red velvet rope stretched between two shiny brass poles. A nicely dressed man asks your name, checking his invitation list. Finding your name there, he flashes a wide grin and drops one end of the rope, allowing you to pass through and enter the party. You feel like a star. Do you have your own red velvet rope policy that allows in only the most ideal clients, the ones who energize and inspire you? So that's where some of my thoughts are coming from today. And as I thought about it, I realized that I needed to look at my messaging and the pain points of the clients that I want to work with. And so one of the questions that Michael Port asks is, what do you refuse to tolerate in a client? So as I thought about it, what I refuse to tolerate in a client are people that are stuck in a victim mentality. There are lots of people who are struggling. Some of those people know they're struggling, but they will do anything and everything that they need to get out of that place. Those are the people that I want to work with. Another thing that I refuse to tolerate in a client are people that are not open to suggestions. I don't know if you have found yourself talking to people and you give them an idea and they say, no, I can't do that. And then you give them another idea and they say, no, I can't do that. And then they give you an excuse. Those kind of people really aren't open and ready to work with a coach or with a friend who's trying to help them. Something else that I refuse to tolerate in a client, complaining rather than action. We all struggle. We all focus on the wrong thing at times. But when people point that out to us, are we open and receptive to that? Are we teachable? Are we willing to look at suggestions that people give us? Or do we just sit there and complain and refuse to take any action? And another thing that I refuse to tolerate in a client is rudeness. We have lots of people in our lives, and there's no need for rudeness. We can, even if we disagree, we can speak with kindness. So, those are the things that I refuse to tolerate in a client. Who am I actually looking for as my ideal client? I am looking for people who are Christ centered, who have integrity, a positive outlook, and are mission minded. I am looking for people who are coaches, people who want to write a nonfiction book or workbook for their clients, people who have strong communication skills. I'm not interested. There's other people that are writing coaches who will help with grammar and vocabulary. That's not what I feel called to. There are other people who are editors who will help people make their writing stronger. That's not what I'm called to. What I want is people who are strong at reading and writing and speaking. I also want clients who are world changers. You know, time on earth is limited, and I believe that God has called each of us as Christians to make a difference in our world. So I want people that are passionate, motivated, and compassionate. They're not just in it for the money. They want gen- to help genuinely help people. And then I'm also looking for people who are creative and courageous. I almost said contagious. Maybe we should be contagious too with our love and compassion. So, I help Christ centered coaches grow their businesses by writing, publishing, and profiting from their books. And on Monday, I had somebody contact me and say, I know somebody who wants to write and publish a children's book. Would you help them? And before, I used to think that it was my job to reach the whole world. But it was so freeing to say, children's books are great, but that's not my goal. That's not what I'm skilled at. And I was able to refer them on to somebody else who is skilled in that area. I hope some of these thoughts are helpful to you. If you have any comments or questions, I look forward to hearing from you. And I look forward to working with you if you are a Christ centered coach looking to grow your business by writing, publishing, and profiting from a book. Have a great day.